Stop drinking plain water. I know that sounds crazy. Your doctor has told you your whole life to drink more water, and now here I am, telling you to pump the brakes. But here's what nobody ever explained to you. Once you cross 60, plain water by itself stops being enough. In fact, drinking only plain water without one simple addition may be quietly starving your blood vessels, slowing your circulation, and draining your energy, no matter how many glasses you finish in a day. I'm Dr. William. For years now, as a physician and researcher, I've studied how what we drink interacts with the human vascular system. And along the way, I've noticed something striking. The people who age the best, the ones who stay sharp, energetic, and independent, well into their 80s, are almost never relying on plain water alone. They're doing something small, something specific, something mainstream medicine has been strangely slow to catch on to. A landmark study out of the University of Colorado looked at adults over 60 who upgraded their hydration with certain bioactive compounds. The result was up to a 43% improvement in endothelial function, that's the delicate lining inside your blood vessels, compared with people who stuck to plain water alone. 43%. That is not a rounding error. That's the gap between a 65-year-old who feels like they're 80 and a 65-year-old who feels like they're 50. Before we walk through the full list today, and yes, I'm counting down 5 of the most powerful additions you can make to your water routine, from strong to truly extraordinary, I want to give you a taste of what's waiting at number 1. It's something you've probably passed by in the grocery store 100 times, maybe even brushed off as just another health trend. But Harvard-affiliated researchers have linked it to a 38% reduction in arterial stiffness in adults over 70. We'll get there, I promise. But first, I want to ask you something directly. How old are you right now? And what's the toughest health challenge you're dealing with at this stage of life? Drop it in the comments below. Tell me your age, and tell me what's bothering you most. Your energy, your circulation, your joints, your memory. I personally read every single comment on this channel. Your answers genuinely shape what I cover next, so take 10 seconds and leave that for me down there. Now, today's countdown runs from 5 to 1. 5 is powerful. 1 is the single most impactful thing you can add to your water after 60. Every scientific source is linked in the description below. Let's get into it. Coming in at number 5, and this one catches almost everyone off guard, coconut water. Now, I know what you're thinking. Isn't that just a fancy sports drink? I understand the doubt. But here's what the research actually shows, and why it matters specifically for a body that's aging. A study out of the University of the West Indies followed adults between 62 and 74 who swapped 1 daily glass of plain water for natural coconut water. After just 8 weeks, their systolic blood pressure, the top number your doctor watches most closely, dropped by an average of 11 points. 11 points from a drink. Here's why this works so well. As we get older, our kidneys become less efficient at balancing sodium and potassium in the bloodstream. Picture sodium and potassium as 2 kids on a seesaw. When one rises, the other has to drop for your blood pressure to stay steady. After 65, that seesaw gets stiff. It doesn't move the way it used to. Coconut water happens to be one of the richest natural sources of potassium on Earth. A single cup holds more potassium than a banana, and it comes in a form your body can actually absorb. Unlike many potassium supplements that pass straight through an aging digestive system without doing much good. There's something else happening too, right at the level of your blood vessels. Coconut water contains cytokinins, a group of plant compounds that research published in the Journal of Ethnopharmacology has connected to reduced oxidative stress in vascular tissue. Oxidative stress, put simply, is rust forming inside your arteries. And after 70, your body's natural antioxidant defenses fall by roughly 30%, which makes outside support like this genuinely important. For practical use, drink 8 ounces of raw, unsweetened coconut water, not the flavored kind loaded with added sugar, first thing in the morning, ideally before breakfast. Here's a synergy tip worth remembering. Pair it with a small handful of pumpkin seeds. The magnesium in those seeds works alongside the potassium in coconut water to support healthy contraction in your heart muscle. And yes, your heart is a muscle. After 60, it needs every advantage it can get. Coconut water is impressive on its own, But what's waiting at number 4 is going to change how you think about your morning routine. Number 4 is tart cherry water. If you deal with inflammation, joint pain, or trouble sleeping through the night, this one was practically built for you. Tart cherries carry some of the highest natural concentrations of melatonin found in any food, and it's not just melatonin sitting alone. It comes packaged with anthocyanins, the deep red pigments that behave like a fire extinguisher for inflammation throughout the body. A study published in the European Journal of Nutrition followed adults over 65 dealing with chronic joint inflammation. 2 weeks of daily tart cherry intake lowered a key inflammatory marker called C-reactive protein by 25%. And here's the part I really want you to sit with. Less inflammation means better blood flow. When the walls of your blood vessels are inflamed, they stiffen and narrow. Blood has to push harder to move through, and that's exactly what drives up blood pressure and strains the heart. Let me tell you about Margaret, 71, from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Margaret came to me frustrated. She was sleeping only 4 hours a night. Her knees ached so badly she'd stopped walking her dog, and her last checkup showed borderline high blood pressure. When we talked through her hydration habits, it was basically plain water and 2 cups of coffee, nothing more. I introduced her to tart cherry water, 2 tablespoons of tart cherry concentrate stirred into 8 ounces of water every evening around 7 p.m. 6 weeks later, Margaret told me she was sleeping 6.5 hours a night. Her knee pain had eased enough that she was back walking her dog every morning, and her blood pressure had settled into a normal range. One simple change to her water. After 60, the body loses a good portion of its ability to regulate inflammatory pathways, largely because the immune cells that manage this process, called macrophages, become less precise with age. This is sometimes called inflammaging, a slow, low-grade burn of inflammation running quietly through the body. Tart cherry water targets that mechanism directly. Use 2 tablespoons of unsweetened tart cherry concentrate in 8 ounces of water each evening. Here's the synergy tip. Add a small pinch of black pepper. Black pepper contains piperine, which has been shown to boost the absorption of anthocyanins by up to 20%. That tiny addition makes the whole drink noticeably more effective. And if you think that's impressive, wait until you hear what's sitting at number 3. But before we get there, if you've been watching this channel for a while and finding real value in what we share, would you take a moment to hit subscribe and give this video a thumbs up? It sounds small, but it genuinely helps this information reach other seniors who need it. I put out research-backed guidance here because I believe everyone over 60 deserves access to it, not just those who can afford a specialist. So help me reach them. Subscribe, like, and let's keep going. Number 3, green tea water. And no, this isn't the green tea your grandmother served lukewarm in a floral cup. This is green tea prepared in a specific way that amplifies its most powerful vascular compound by nearly 3 times. Green tea contains a compound called EGG, epigallocatechin gallate. I know that sounds like a word someone made up, but it's real, and it's remarkable. Think of EGG as a master key for your blood vessels. The walls of your blood vessels carry tiny receptors, almost like locks, and EGG fits into those locks, signaling the vessels to relax and widen, a process known as vasodilation. When your vessels widen, blood moves more freely, your heart doesn't have to strain as hard, and oxygen reaches your muscles and your brain more efficiently. A study from Vanderbilt University found that adults over 65 who drank green tea regularly showed a 32% lower rate of cognitive decline compared to those who didn't. 32% from a drink. Here's why this matters so much after 60. Blood vessels naturally lose elasticity as we age. They grow stiffer, less responsive, like a garden hose left out in the sun for years. Research from Japan's National Institute of Health and Nutrition shows that the EGG in green tea can partially reverse this stiffening at the cellular level by reducing something called AGEs, advanced glycation end products, which are essentially the biological equivalent of caramelization happening inside your artery walls. The way you prepare it matters enormously here. Brew your green tea at 175 degrees Fahrenheit, not boiling, since boiling water destroys up to 40% of the EGG content. Let it steep for exactly 3 minutes. Then let it cool slightly and drink it in the late morning, around 10 or 11 a.m., which is when your body's cortisol rhythm creates an ideal window for vascular absorption. Here's the synergy tip. Squeeze in fresh lemon juice. Researchers at Purdue University found that the vitamin C in lemon stabilizes EGG in the digestive tract and can boost its bioavailability by up to 13 times from a single squeeze. Now we're stepping into the top 2, and I want you to stay with me here, because what's coming at number 2 is something most doctors have never once mentioned to their patients, and the science behind it is nothing short of astonishing. Number 2, and this is the one I teased at the very start, hibiscus water. Yes, that deep crimson flower you may have spotted in tea blends or sitting dried in the bulk bins at a natural grocery store. Hibiscus. And what the research shows about this flower's effect on blood pressure and arterial function in adults over 60 is something I genuinely think should be common medical knowledge, yet somehow isn't. A clinical trial published in the Journal of Hypertension, and I want you to really pay attention to this number, found that adults with mildly elevated blood pressure who drank 3 cups of hibiscus tea daily saw their systolic blood pressure drop by an average of 13 points over 6 weeks. That's comparable to the effect of some prescription medications. Comparable, without the side effects, without the cost, without the dependency. Hibiscus works through several mechanisms at once. It contains anthocyanins and organic acids, particularly hibiscus acid, that act as natural ACE inhibitors. ACE inhibitors are among the most commonly prescribed blood pressure medications in the world, working by blocking an enzyme that causes blood vessels to constrict. Hibiscus achieves something remarkably similar through entirely natural pathways. On top of that, a study from researchers at Tufts University found that hibiscus lowered LDL cholesterol, the so-called bad cholesterol, by 22% in adults over 60 across a 12-week period. Let me tell you about Robert, 74, from Phoenix, Arizona. Robert was already on 2 blood pressure medications, and his cardiologist had recently raised the possibility of adding a third. Robert felt frustrated and scared. He was dizzy in the mornings, exhausted by afternoon, and told me his quality of life felt like it was slipping through his fingers. We added hibiscus water to his routine, 2 cups a day, 1 in the morning, 1 in the early afternoon. After 10 weeks, Robert's cardiologist was surprised enough by his numbers to reduce one of his medications. His energy came back, his dizziness disappeared, and Robert told me something I'll never forget. He said, "Dr. William, I feel like I got 5 years back." For preparation, use 2 to 3 tablespoons of dried hibiscus flowers, often found in Latin grocery stores labeled as Jamaica. Steep in 8 ounces of hot water for 5 to 7 minutes, then let it cool. Skip the sugar. If you want sweetness, a small amount of raw honey works fine. Here's a powerful synergy tip. Pair your hibiscus water with a small piece of dark chocolate, 85% cacao or higher. The flavonols in dark chocolate and the anthocyanins in hibiscus travel through complementary vascular pathways, and research from King's College London suggests this pairing may boost nitric oxide production, the molecule responsible for relaxing and widening blood vessels, more than either compound could manage alone. One important caution: if you're already on blood pressure medication, please talk to your physician before adding hibiscus to your routine, because it is genuinely potent, and your dosage may need adjusting. That's not a liability disclaimer. That's real medical guidance, because this stuff actually works. Now, number 1, the moment I promised you at the very start of this video, the drink that Harvard-affiliated researchers connected to a 38% reduction in arterial stiffness in adults over 70. Are you ready? Number 1, beetroot water. Fresh or powdered beetroot dissolved in water is, in my professional opinion, the single most powerful, evidence-backed vascular tonic available to adults over 60. And most people walk right past it in the grocery store without a second glance. Here's the science, and I want to walk through this carefully because I want you to truly understand what's happening inside your body. Beetroot is the richest dietary source of nitrates found in any commonly available food. When you consume those nitrates, beneficial bacteria on your tongue convert them into nitrites, and your blood then converts those nitrites into nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is arguably the single most important molecule for vascular health in the human body. Think of it as WD-40 for your arteries. When your body produces enough nitric oxide, your blood vessels relax, widen, and stay flexible. Blood flows freely, oxygen reaches your muscles and brain more efficiently, and your heart pumps with less effort. A study from the University of Exeter, one of the world's leading research centers for cardiovascular exercise science, found that older adults who drank beetroot juice before physical activity could sustain that activity 16% longer before fatigue set in. 16%. That's not a small margin. For a 72-year-old climbing stairs, carrying groceries, or keeping up with grandchildren, 16% is the difference between managing and thriving. But here's what makes beetroot uniquely important after 60. Research published in the journal Hypertension found that our natural nitric oxide production drops by roughly 50% between the ages of 40 and 70. 50%. Half of this critical molecule, gone. This is one of the main reasons blood pressure tends to climb with age, why cognitive function slips, and why physical stamina drops so sharply. Beetroot water doesn't just support a lifestyle choice, it replaces something your body has genuinely lost. The Harvard-affiliated research I mentioned earlier, conducted through the Brigham and Women's Hospital Research Network, specifically examined arterial stiffness using a measurement called pulse wave velocity, considered the gold standard for measuring how flexible your arteries are. Adults over 70 who consumed beetroot extract daily showed a 38% improvement in pulse wave velocity after just 4 weeks. 4 weeks, less than a month. For preparation, you have 2 solid options. Option 1, juice 2 medium raw beets and dilute with 8 ounces of water. Option 2, more practical for most people, use a high-quality beetroot powder, 1 to 2 teaspoons stirred into 8 ounces of water, and look for powders without added sugar or artificial flavors. Timing matters a great deal here. Drink your beetroot water roughly 90 minutes before your most physically active stretch of the day, whether that's a morning walk, gardening, or a physical therapy session, giving your body enough time to convert those nitrates into active nitric oxide. Here's the strongest synergy tip of everything we've covered today. Pair your beetroot water with vitamin C, orange juice, kiwi, bell pepper. Any high vitamin C food consumed alongside beetroot dramatically extends nitric oxide stability, meaning the nitric oxide your body produces lasts noticeably longer in your bloodstream. Researchers at the University of Pennsylvania found this combination produced measurably greater improvements in blood flow than beetroot alone. One practical note: beetroot can turn your urine, and sometimes your stool, a reddish color. This is completely harmless. It's called beeturia, and if you're not expecting it, it can be alarming. So I'm telling you now, don't panic. It's pigment, not blood. You're fine. Actually, you're better than fine. You're giving your vascular system exactly what it's been asking for. Now let me bring this all together for you, because I don't want you walking away from this video with just a list. I want you to walk away with something bigger than that. After 60, the choices you make about what you put into your body carry more weight than at any other point in your life. Not because it's too late, it is never ever too late, but because your body is now asking for more support than it once needed. Your blood vessels have been working for 6, 7, 8 decades. They've carried stress, processed a lifetime of meals, absorbed the wear of time, and they are still working, still pumping, still fighting for you every second of every day. What I've shared with you today, coconut water, tart cherry, green tea, hibiscus, and beetroot, these aren't miracle cures. They're allies for your body. They're compounds that speak the language your aging vascular system understands. And when you give your body these tools, something remarkable happens. People get their energy back. They reclaim their independence. They stop feeling like passengers in their own lives and start feeling like drivers again. That's not a marketing line. That's what I've watched happen with real patients, in real time, over many years of practice. Your independence, your mobility, your mental clarity, your ability to play with your grandchildren, to travel, to wake up and genuinely feel good, none of that is gone. It's waiting on the other side of better choices. And today, you took a step toward it just by watching this. If this video gave you something valuable, please subscribe to this channel, because I'm here every week with research-backed guidance built specifically for your body, your stage of life, and your goals. Share this with someone you love who's over 60, a sibling, a spouse, a friend, because this information deserves to reach the people who need it most. Now I want to hear from you. Which of these 5 drinks are you going to try first? Leave it in the comments below. And if you're already using any of these, tell me your experience. Your story might be exactly what another viewer needs to hear to take their first step. I read every single comment, everyone. I'll see you down there, and I'll see you in the next video. Take good care of yourselves.